ko po na taon-taon ang hinihintay sa mga pag-approve ng mga petitions sa family-based petitions, pero there might be something you can do. We're going to be talking about that right about now sa ating American Dream.
This American Dream segment is brought to you by Aquino & Lowe Law Firm, answering your immigration questions.
All right, Attorney Richard Lowe, hello and welcome once again to Kababayan, LA. You know, immigration is always a close topic, always very interesting for our Kababayans. Now, we're going to be talking today about chargeability and cross-chargeability. How complicated is this, and can you make it simpler for us?
Well, it's a little bit complicated, but I think you can imagine, we all get the visa bulletin, and when, as a Filipino, you look all the way over to the right-hand column, and you have to find your numbers. And I think the desire is to be able to look at that first column, where all the nice numbers are higher than the numbers for the Filipinos. And the way to do that is chargeability, is who gets the visa charged to, what country gets the visa charged to. So,
and we're talking about numbers, meaning priority dates. And for many of us, especially like myself, also I was my family has been a beneficiary of family-based petition, but we waited long. We waited like more than 20 years. What's the climate out there right now? How long is the wait?
Well, yeah, we're still waiting. You know, we had a regression about a year ago, and we're still sort of climbing back from that, especially in the 2A category. We're down to about 4 years, which is pretty good, but still not as good as it was a while ago. But we're still, you know, we still have to think about how we can move from the right-hand column to the left-hand column.
All right, chargeability and cross-chargeability, that's what will make us move, hopefully.
Yes. How
do we do that, and why is this important to us?
Well, it's important because sometimes we need to think outside the box. And oftentimes Filipinos do marry other people that are not necessarily U.S. citizens, but are perhaps Japanese citizens or Italian citizens. Well, it turns out that we don't have to stay in the Filipino category. If you marry an Italian, for example, we can use the category, the Italian's citizenship to be into the all chargeability category, which is that far left column, which can be a significant move. So, for example, if you're being petitioned by your brother and sister in the Philippines, it's an enormous wait, 20 years or something, right? But you get married to, let's say, a Swedish person. Well, all of a sudden, your wait has been chopped by 12 years. That
sounds good. We prepared slides for you, actually. If we can take a look at slide number 1, and we'll see if Attorney Richard Lowe can explain this to us. And that's what you were just explaining earlier, Richard, right? To which country's quota will the visa being issued be charged to? The general rule is that the beneficiary's country of birth controls not country of citizenship or nationality. Can you explain this?
Yeah, that's a little bit important because I think sometimes people think, well, I was born in the Philippines, but I've lived in Europe or something. I maybe worked there, and I've gained citizenship in the EU, and so why can't I be charged to that country instead of the Philippines? But to make it easy for the Department of State, they simply look at what country you were born in. Now, there can be a couple of exceptions to that. One of them, which we talked about, that is that if you are accompanying a husband or wife to the United States, that you can use that accompanying spouse's country of chargeability, which sometimes can be a huge benefit.
Right, and see, that's why we need lawyers to explain these things to us, because sometimes we don't know what the options are. We just know what people are going through and some popular alternatives, but we don't know some of these nuances.
Yes.
Let's take a look at slide number 2. Richard is going to explain that as well. Exceptions leading to cross-chargeability. Now, talk about cross-chargeability.
Well, we just talked about, that is, cross-chargeability is basically charging you to a different country than you would normally be charged to. So we just talked to one about the spouse, and this also goes for children as well, that if a child is coming, if they are accompanying a parent, and that parent has a different nationality, that they can then use that nationality for the child as well. So in our example that we had earlier, where the brother was petitioning for his sister, and the sister ended up marrying a Swedish guy, if they had a child in the Philippines, that child as well could come with them and be charged to the Swedish country, and then therefore all be able to immigrate much more quickly than had they just stayed in the Philippine category.
Thank you. I'm understanding it a little bit better now, but what must we do? Let's say, for example, your petition is filed on your behalf, and as a Filipino citizen, and then you get married to a Swedish guy, do you have to file another one?
No, you don't. You actually don't. And what you need to do is inform the Department of State that you believe that you now belong in a different chargeability group. So you have to tell them, okay, I've married a Swedish guy, here's my marriage certificate, now I want to be in this nice left-hand column instead of the backed-up right-hand column.
Is this something that you're interviewed for? Is this something that you just submit all your documents by mail? You'll need a lawyer for that, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you need to submit the proof that it is the case that you should be charged to that other country, but that all is taken care of at the consulate interview. Obviously, if you're not married to a Swedish guy, that's going to come out at the interview.
Right. Certificate of marriage is what you need to...
Yeah. In that case, you would need a certificate of marriage.
Or birth certificate of the child.
That's correct, and you were proving the parentage of the parents and also where they were born, so those documents would be needed as well.
Right. Obviously, we're talking about general immigration laws and some of the updates and some of the nuances of that, but everything is on a case-by-case basis as well, and that's why we encourage you to consult with Aquino and Lowe Law Firm. Attorney Richard Lowe and Attorney Allison Aquino are going to be taking care of you. That's the number to call on the screen if you want to set an appointment. Now, also, you do consultations by phone and by email as well,
Yes, we do, of course.
All right. Thank you so much and more power to you.
Thank you.
Magbabalik pa po ang Kababayan LA. We're giving away tickets to Knott's Berry Farm, Knott's Scary Farm, and Camp Spooky. You wouldn't want to miss that, and that's when we return. Don't go away.